Welcome to the Fab Five's first official YouTube video. We're here today to give you some commentary on our very first game. I'm Bambi.
I'm Donovan.
And today we've got a match between Donovan himself and Nam. And as you can see in the video already, we're also hosting some fly on the video. This was filmed back in the summer where it was still a bit warmer. We've kept these in the backlog for a while, waiting for an opportunity to do some commentary. We've had some assistance in putting together the overlay, and today we're coming to you now live with our first commentated video. Exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited to finally start doing something with these recorded games, and I'm also struggling with my feelings a little bit looking back at these games and knowing that probably we still can play for the foreseeable future, at least during the next couple of months probably.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking earlier about how, having these tournaments gives you that kind of momentum to get through the week at work and have something to look forward to at the weekends. And at the moment it's really difficult not having that. You kind of lose that momentum and energy to play as much Fab as we would like, but doing something like this is certainly helping. So we've got a roll here. Is that a 4 you rolled there?
I rolled at least a 6 because it was my little dinosaur.
Okay,
dice.
You rolled a little dinosaur.
Yeah, I rolled a little dinosaur.
Did you choose Nam to go first there? I saw you point across the table.
I don't remember, if I'm being honest. So it's me on the left and the Nam on the right.
You can notice Don because he's got very hairy arms.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to enjoy this, Don, because I don't know much about either of these classes, but I will have a lot of fun calling out every time I think you have a shit play.
Let's go for it. It's probably going to be a couple times that I'm struggling. We were really I think this was our first constructed tournament?
It was our first constructed tournament, yeah. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after Crucible came out. Not even the European Crucible release, right? The worldwide Crucible release. We were already doing tournaments back then in the Netherlands. So yeah, I think it was our first constructed tournament. So if you can remember, because this was probably 3 or 4 months ago, what's the general concept of your deck? What are you trying to do with this deck?
So basically you're trying to make very big plays.
Like a Mangle, for example.
Like a Mangle, yeah, absolutely. It's pretty nice if you can use Dominate on the first turn, where your opponent can't do anything. So you basically get some free damage through, which is really good for Guardian, especially when playing Blitz in Constructed. It's decent. It's not bad.
So is that because normally, at least in my perspective, when you play Flesh and Blood, going first feels bad, right? Because your opponent can effectively drop their entire hand to try and defend. Whereas with Guardian, obviously, they can't do that as easily if you can get Dominate active.
True. So Nam is gonna see if he's lucky. He's not. I think still a good play to use Bonehead Barrier as an instant, because why not?
Yeah, otherwise it's just stuck in his hand, right?
Exactly, because I dominate the attack. I'm telling him that right now, I think. I use Dominate. He tries to defend with 2 cards while he can only defend with 1 card after the instant he played. So he's allowed to play an instant and then still has the option to pick a card to defend.
So Dominate, for those who don't play Flesh and Blood a lot, and maybe this is your first video, ultimately Dominate means you can only defend with 1 card from your hand, right?
Absolutely.
So you can defend with additional cards from Arsenal, or you can play instants on top of the cards you're defending from your hand with.
Yeah.
Alongside, any armor or something you might also use to defend with.
I think the reason I didn't create a Seismic Surge token with Tectonic Plating, because that's what I'm using as my legendary equipment, is because I could put the 4th card in Arsenal instead of creating the token, and it might be a defense reaction, I'm not sure.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I guess we'll see soon. So Nam's gone down to 36, so 4 damage in the first turn. Not too bad, considering a lot of first turns don't tend to put much damage through.
Exactly.
Let's see what Nam can do back to you here. So I remember this deck that you had. A lot of your equipment was specifically focused on them having high armor values on your equipment, right? So you can get additional blocks in.
Yeah, this was the first, I think the first week after Crucible got out, and the newest piece of equipment, the new Majestic piece that has the option to defend with 2, that just makes Guardian the class that can defend with 7 or 8.
Nice. So Nam's used his backbone something, I don't know, strapping to get additional resources, and he's played a barraging beatdown, a primeval bellow, so he's going for a big swing here, it seems, intimidating lots of cards out of your hand.
Yeah, double intimidates, that is pretty good, leaving me with only 2 cards left, and I think that is what you want when I see that I'm even keeping 1 card. I'm not sure how many cards I have at the moment, but I think there is a fine line when playing Brute. You don't want to dominate or intimidate your entire opponent's hand, because then they can fully swing back with that hand.
Yeah.
But you wanted to intimidate 2 cards, I think, because then you can keep applying pressure.
Yep. Unless, I guess, you think you can get a significant amount of damage through.
Yeah.
Like in this example, maybe he's thinking, I can hit you for, 10, 15 damage here, really put you on the back foot. But as you say, even if you are on the back foot, you're on the back foot with a complete hand, so... Exactly,
and that's what Guardian wants ultimately, because you want to make those big swings, and for those big swings you need... Most of the time you need your entire hand to pay for the 7 and 8 costers.
So he did 14 damage to you. So not a bad first turn from Nam himself there. Swinging back, knocking you down to almost half your life total on the first turn. But, as we were just saying, you're now playing with your complete hand still.
Yeah, I think during this game we keep swinging at each other quite heavily. I mean, Guardian and Brute are 2 classes that do things like that, swing big, whilst other classes go for a whole
more
different
chip
strategy.
Damage type
exactly,
stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess you're thinking through which of your massive damage cards you're going to come to town with here.
Yeah, I see another Mangle, probably going to play that, just seeing if I can create a token or not, and if I can use Dominate, make a token, and still play Mangle with Dominate.
So the token is from your legendary equipment, the Tectonic Plating, right?
Yeah, which creates the Seismic Surge tokens that give you a discount for your next turn for the Guardian attack that you're playing.
Pitching 3 cards to, as you said, play another Mangle.
Yeah. See you sing below.
Do you get much benefit from the crush effect of Mangle? Like, I know some of the other crush effects are quite good, especially in certain matchups, but the one on Mangle, how often do you trigger its condition?
So, it depends on which class you are playing against. Against some classes that have equipment that they can use multiple times, it's actually pretty good against those, and Mangle is a card you have to use with another card. You have to play that one first and then you go for Mangle, which I can't come up now. I don't know the name of that card. Is it Buckling? I think it's Buckling Blow. So Buckling Blow, there's one card that gives the -1 tokens, and then there's the card that gets rid of the...
So Nam defended there, took 6. Confused where the card that he defended with went. It looked like he put it on the bottom of his... Oh, it was Drone of Brutality. That's why he put it on
there. Yeah, as a drone. Always goes to the bottom of the deck. Yeah. Excellent card.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking through here what he wants to do. He's already intimidated you, I think, if I look at... Okay, so a barraging bighorn. Cool artwork. Love dinosaurs.
playing with the Tome of Fane now, if I see that correctly.
Yep.
Also a great card.
So obviously he's potentially hoping here to get Go Again. I'm not sure how many cards he's got in his hand, so maybe he doesn't care about it, get Go Again. He's just trying to hit you for 7. And at this time you do have most of your hand left, right? So potentially you could defend more, and he could gain a little bit of tempo to potentially snowball into later.
Exactly. I think I have a couple of options because I have a couple of defense reactions in hand. Also thinking how to best defend against this attack and still have something that I can do next turn.
Okay, so you've defended with 2 equipment cards and Fate Foreseen, so maybe he is holding additional cards and you were concerned about the Go Again, but you've just defended it. He's now passing because I can see him drawing up. You've opted for something. I guess we'll find out in a minute if that was something useful or not. So both of your helm and your tectonic plating have 2 armor on them.
Helm of Eisen's Peak only has 1.
Only has 1, okay.
Because you have the option to run the skull cap, you can decide if you want to go for the full armor or if you want to have a hand size of 5 for once. So
you've triggered your token here and played Command and Conquer.
Yeah, I love that play. I love using 1 blue to create both a token and play the Command and Conquer.
Nice.
So you can get rid of your opponent's arsenal, or they have to invest a lot of resources into defending that attack. And then during the next turn, so it gives you a little bit of momentum so you can swing back the next turn because your opponent is left with only a couple options.
Command and Conquer are a really good staple in most kind of, high tier decks. People are running 3 off the card. It's a great card in any deck.
Absolutely. Love the artwork.
Yeah, definitely.
Love the whole vibe. Love the effect. The fact that you can play defense reactions makes it such a versatile card.
So interesting you say that you love the artwork, because I was thinking for our artwork of the month having Command and Conquer as one of the first pieces that we did, just because it's got that kind of samurai, like old school vibe to all of the artwork, as well as feeling like something from the First Order in Star Wars stood on there looking down. Yeah,
absolutely. It also fits in the theme of the artwork I like most in Flesh and Blood. Probably.
Yeah.
So Nam deciding to use his legs again and rolls a 3.
I saw it bouncing on the edge there. I didn't know if you were going to allow that dice roll to stick or something there, Don, but force him to re-roll.
He's only left with 1 action. And he's coming back. Speaking about the devil, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, because back when we had this tournament, there wasn't that many Command and Conquers kicking around, so I wonder if you were both playing with 3. Maybe we should try and see if we can recover those old deck lists somewhere and see if we were both running 3 copies.
I think at this moment I had 3 copies. Okay. I'm not... maybe 2, maybe 3. I'm not sure yet. So I can at least see 1 or 2 defense reactions in my hand.
So you're defending with 2 from hand. Ultimately, I assume at this point, difficulty taking 0. So you defended for all 6.
Keeping the card I had in Arsenal.
So you've triggered another token and played an Emerging Dominance.
Yeah, this is a play I really like. So it means that when you play this from Arsenal, you only play it if you have a good card, a good attack action card that you can play next turn. So you play it from Arsenal, you put the good card in your Arsenal, and then it gives you the momentum to dominate the next turn and get the +3. And now I also created a token, so I only need to pay 2 blues to go in for a Crippling Crush.
Nice.
And that's going to be 14 if it hits.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
14 damage with 1 card.
And the fact that he already used most of his gear. If you play against Warrior, for example, they have so much potential to defend just with their armor, and against other classes it's so much easier to get the dominate or to get the crush effect through.
Yeah. So is that something? I guess I'll come back in a second. So
Yeah.
now I'm here playing a Blood Rush Bellow, discarding cards from hand. I mean, I'm not a brute player, but whenever I see this kind of thing, it feels like you need to be on a different plane of existence to know exactly when to play certain cards, so you don't discard the wrong ones. And I think that'd just melt my brain if I had to kind of do that every time.
Yeah, that's maybe the reason I'm not really into Brute. I don't like the play style. I can see why it's appealing, but I can also see why it's definitely not for me. I'm not much of a gambler when playing these type of games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love discarding cards from my opponent and drawing cards myself, but
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
So, some conversation going on here as to what you're doing. So, you're just defending with one card, taking some amount of damage.
Defending with Righteous Cleansing.
Yeah. So, you're only taking 3 damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so kind of even now after an equal amount of turns. So, you straight away cracking that token, getting ready for the play that you've been thinking about since last turn.
Getting +3, and then here it goes. It's a Spinal Crush, not the Crippling Crush I was hoping for, but I think this is pretty good because now I'm forcing Nam to roll the dice or with his legs next turn.
So do you think, like, looking at all these crush effects, this is what I was going to say a moment ago, some of them are better in certain matchups. Do you think you'll maybe get to a point in future with Guardian where there's enough critical mass of cards that ultimately you're sideboarding in certain crush effects against different classes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Looking back at this right now, I think this is a card I should maybe consider not playing because he can decide to get action. Well, the chance is that he gets 1 action point or maybe more action points. So why would I play this card against him? I think Crippling Crush has much more potential against a lot of matchups, and maybe this card is becoming a little bit underwhelming. I'm not really sure yet, but as you said, a critical mass, maybe that exists already.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I played you and I was playing my ninja deck and you played Spinal Crush against me a couple of turns and it just destroyed my entire game plan. It just shut me down for a complete turn.
If you can set up those plays for a couple of turns, well, then there's pretty much nothing your opponent can do to get back into the game. So I got a couple damage through. It's already Nam's turn, coming in with the barraging Bighorn. Dominate or
there's too many barraging big B like alliteration with barraging things going on. I forget the cards and mistake them for one another all the time.
I'm also always confused with dominate and intimidate.
Yeah. So I saw you thinking about defending with 2 cards then stopping, putting them back in your hand and reconsidering. So I guess maybe you're thinking, do you want to go on the offensive here rather than trying to block?
I think in this game the things I'm not doing correctly is maybe should defend a little bit more and swing more with my hammer, because this should actually be a grind, and I think I'm still it's been a couple months, and I think at this time I was still focusing too much on just making these big swings, not considering enough that I should defend a little bit more and be more patient to find the time when is the right time to make a big play.
Yeah, I remember when I very first started playing Flesh and Blood, I wasn't interested in defending at all. I was just like, play cards, try and kill my opponent as quickly as possible. And then I decided to play Wizard and my whole world was transformed until I realised Wizard was garbage. At least back then. Nowadays, maybe not so much. But
yeah, and then Wizard also has such a different playstyle, right?
Yeah.
It really shows you how the game has, you have to take different steps in the game.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I like about it, right, is that every class feels unique. There are all these different play styles, which could be one of those things that ultimately is just a marketing trick, and at the end of the day, your decks largely do the same thing, but in Flesh and Blood, they really feel distinctive in the way they approach the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've played another Emerging Dominance, I can see.
Yeah, I love that card. I started playing 3 red copies, and I'm not sure if the red copy is the best thing. The plus strength helps, but the blue does the same thing while only giving you +1 strength, but still gives you dominate.
Yep.
And playing a blue copy might be better because you can use that as just a pitch card.
Yep. So Nams activated his Gambler's Glove here to get that
Yes.
re-roll in. I think he hit a 3 to begin with and then rolled into a 4, so getting that slightly better modifier.
And I think at the beginning of the game he rolled a 1, and then from that moment he kept on rolling and got better results.
Yeah.
As you will maybe a little bit of a spoiler for what's coming next.
So another barraging beatdown. I don't know what's happened to this. I don't know if it's a wolf or a bear or something that seems to have been playing like do you remember that slap chest game you played like in high school where you would slap each other on the chest until one person's chest went red? It looks like that's what this saber-tooth wolf bear's been playing.
I thought it was just a skin and it was a dead bear already, but
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
But clearly I've got too much of a vivid imagination. So Nam's played a predatory assault following that. So he gained dominate. Does it gain dominate? I think it's a remembrance that he's... Oh, that's his pitch zone. So maybe he discarded something and it's got dominate. I guess we'll see here when you defend.
Also, maybe something we should mention is that we made, someone made the template for us, and back then we made sure that everything was on camera, but now looking back, using this game as our first video, this is something we should do differently in the future, of course.
Yeah, we'll definitely kind of tape out the exact dimensions of where we're filming to know that it fits perfectly into the template for next time.
Exactly. But
so shout out to Kugain Gaming for making this template for us. It looks sweet.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Really happy with it. It has the whole flesh and blood vibe.
For sure. And it really fits with kind of the FAB Five branding style as well, so it kind of nailed it on all fronts.
Yeah, you did a great job. Nailed it!
So you're thinking through what to defend with here.
Yeah, so I have a Sink Below in hand and also have a Spinal Crush.
And a Pummel?
Yeah, I've also have a token, so getting a discount of 1 and the +3 dominate. So I'm like considering what should I defend at this moment? Do I still want to do that attack next turn, or is this the point where I need to defend in order for me to stay in the game?
So Emerging Dominance like automatically triggers at the start of your next turn, right? It only sticks around, so if you didn't use it next turn, it would be a wasted play.
Exactly.
So you don't want to defend too much and lose that potential big swing that you can put through.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm guessing Emerging Dominance only works on Guardian attack actions, or...
Only Guardian attack actions. That's correct.
So you're clearly thinking a lot here and doing the kind of the age-old card gamers shuffle while thinking.
Yeah, and I do this unconsciously. This just happens.
So you've played the Sink Below.
Yeah, putting something on the bottom, seeing if I can draw back into a better card.
And just choosing to take the damage. I'm guessing he had triggered the dominate, or you just choose not to. So you've taken 6 off that attack, down to 16 against Nam's 19. And you now back on the play, triggering your Emerging Dominance and your token. See that, like, no waiting, like, boom, straight in there, like, let's go.
Yeah, because, like, that's the only thing I had to think about. I already know what I'm going to play. I only have to think about, hey, how am I going to defend?
Yeah.
So that leaves me...
Does that kind of... I guess that simplifies your game strategy in so much as if you know you've only got to play through one card, it's quite easy to formulate the strategy for additional turns. But do you ever find it gets a bit... boring's maybe the wrong word, but like repetitive, that you're just kind of repeating that same motion of just playing one card?
Yes and no. It really depends on what deck you're playing against, because you have to play... It looks like you're having the same strategy every game, but it's not, because you're looking for different pieces and you have to set up slightly different plays. And I really like those minor changes that you have to do in every different game.
Yep. That kind of next level of gameplay where you're not just playing your deck, you're adapting your strategy to the class you're playing against, which is ultimately this kind of Mortal Kombat methodology they're assuming the game will take on, right? Where you're playing against your opponent rather than just playing your own deck.
Absolutely, and I think it's something that is really difficult to master in Flesh and Blood, and I haven't mastered by far. So, but it's at least cool to think about.
Another cool-looking card there, the Springboard Somersault, again with that samurai vibe. I think we both like the same kind of art style and aesthetics. So,
True.
Okay.
So he defended for 4, just the Springboard Somersault, and he went to 9.
Dropping down to single figures here.
Yeah, using his legendary equipment again. He rolled a 2, so he has 1 action.
I think he's just thinking through. Okay, I'm guessing you're reminding him that he only can attack once and he doesn't have go again because of your Spinal Crush.
I think no. Wait, he rolled a 4, so he has 2 actions.
Okay.
And I'm explaining. He's like, hey, how does this work again? And that's what I'm doing. Explaining like.
Okay. Actions are
The
different.
card
to go
says
again.
go again,
Yeah.
but because you have an extra action point, you can still play a card after that.
Yeah.
Because the go again doesn't go into effect, but the fact that you have a second action point. That's what we're discussing here, and this is probably the first time I played against Guardian. Maybe I've played it once at this point in a draft game.
Against Brute.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, we played like before. This is interesting. We're saying this is the first constructor tournament. Before this, we probably played 20 drafts or something. Like it was crazy how many drafts we were playing.
Yeah, but it was such a really, we had such a great experience, and it's also such a good way to get into the game, collect a couple cards, build your first deck. And
it helps you learn a lot as well, right? All
Absolutely.
the different cards, how to play against certain classes, what certain classes are good at and bad at, etc. So
that's why I found out I was going for Guardian, and I really like that.
So a barraging beatdown into a pack hunt with Intimidate. I don't really understand what's going on in the artwork there. It looks a bit like the 3 trolls from the Hobbit sat around a fire, maybe going to turn to stone. So defending with 2 armor pieces here and 2 cards from your hand.
Pretty much everything I got, right?
So I'm guessing then your hand is bad? Because you're on the offensive here, right? He's down to 9.
Yeah.
Maybe your hand isn't great, so you're hoping that you can now trigger through, or you've got enough to still swing through on the offense, which I guess we're about to see. So, pummel for pitch into a command and conquer.
Yeah, and thinking of it now, I already mentioned I should use my hammer more. Have I even moved my weapon?
Nope, Uranethos has sat there for the entire game.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because I remember playing against you maybe the week after this, where that was almost every single attack was Anothos pummel, hitting me for unexpected damage. So,
looking back at this now, maybe because Nam is using Intimidate, gives me also the momentum to make sure I can do these big attacks every single turn, because I get a couple cards back, so we can keep swinging like that.
Yeah.
So maybe it is the right call. I'm not sure.
So Golem defending a bit of damage for
Golem. I was also thinking of Golem.
I was going to say it's like an uglier version of Golem, but I don't even know if that's possible. But Golem that's smoked too much meth or something. He's got blisters all over his face. So now I'm thinking here about another barraging beatdown, a yellow one this time.
Feels like that's the only card he's playing.
Yeah, I feel like he's just got 10.
And another one. Yeah.
Amazing. That kind of tiger bear wolf must have a really sore chest after this. So into the Romping Club. So a big Romping Club attack here.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like the barrage and beatdown. You can, if you set up a play where you can play 4 copies and then boom, go ham.
Yeah. So you thinking about what to defend with here? Just defending with 2 cards
with
from
the
hand.
cards I have left.
Yeah.
Taking back 2 cards, so you see that I have a defense reaction in hand that he took
that's
away.
tough. And a staunch response. So.
Yeah, both defense reactions. So a little bit unfortunate over there. Nevertheless, I still have 2 cards left, and I managed to defend most of the damage. So I guess that's a plus.
Yeah. I love this kind of phase you go through where I can see that you're considering doing something, you hold the card up. Oh,
there it is!
We've got a weapon attack.
It's hammer time! Yeah, nice.
One of my favourite cold foiling on the Anothos, because it's just so clean where they've put the cold foil lines on the hammer. It just looks so great in cold foil.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now I'm sitting here, less health than you, thinking through what do I do here, right? Because this is one of my, I guess, favourite but also most frustrating phases in Flesh and Blood is what do I do here, right? Because if he just keeps defending, at the end of the day, he's probably over time just going to end up losing. The alternative is that he tries to swing back at you, so takes some damage.
Yeah.
But, you know, he can only afford to take so much. Now he's down to 9, and if you've got pummels and things that could potentially boost it, he doesn't want to end up just losing out of nowhere.
The key word here is momentum, making sure you pick the right spot. And I think that is the most interesting thing about this game, but also the most difficult and maybe frustrating thing that can happen.
Yeah. So now I'm searching for something. I'm not sure what was going on there.
Yeah, he was probably looking through his discard pile to see
how many copies of something he'd played.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe thinking what could he do next turn to turn this around if he if he takes the damage. So he's just taking
it, and that means that he has a hand that he wants to play out, right?
And I guess as well, so he could have risked the fact that knowing how many cards you had in hand, even if you did have a pummel, it wasn't lethal, so he can afford to take a small hit, and as you say, bring some momentum back himself now by going in for a big swing.
Yeah.
So we've got Primeval Bellow, giving his next attack +5.
+5, that is big, right?
Yep.
That is big.
This is really tough, though, when you play that off the bat and you've got to discard a card from the entirety of your hand. Like, if it hits the wrong thing, your entire play can get shut down.
Yeah, but it's also a bit like, how do you build your deck, right?
Yeah, true.
So, Massacre.
So
he discarded card +6 or more, so +2 in Intimidate.
So he's hitting for 13 and Intimidate. That's a big hit.
Yeah, that's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. And really, really powerful.
It's really interesting, actually, to see this Guardian Brute matchup, because as you said earlier, like, they're both such big hitters. Yeah. It's ultimately, like, who can get the biggest hits in. So you defending with one card, playing a sink below there. Taking, let's do some calculations. So I think you took 6 damage. So down to 9.
Yeah, so 9 to 5. Boom.
Working 9 to 5.
Coming back with a Command and Conquer that doesn't really do anything since he has no arsenal.
Yeah, but I'm guessing it's all you had?
Yeah, and at this point there's no... Why would I set up a play? Because he's down to 5.
Yeah.
I just want to keep
the pressure up.
Yeah.
And I guess as well, you've created the token. Ultimately, you keeping the Command and Conquer in hand probably isn't enough at this point. You want to find one of those huge damage cards that you can dominate and go for the lethal without him being able to stop you.
True.
All his equipment's gone, he's on the back foot. So
absolutely, and that is probably how you want to end the game. But also, like, every time you swing with your hammer from this point, he has to think about defending, because when you are below X amount of damage, and that is probably when you go below 10, you have to start considering, okay, do I really need to defend this, or can I let it go through?
Yeah, and ultimately I think that's what he's considering here is, he probably sees that you've got no cards in hand that I can see, 1 card in arsenal, so you can't really pump it. He has to defend with something, but does he just defend with 1 card and maybe take 2 or 3 damage?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or does he want to defend with 2 and negate the entire attack and still maybe swing back himself?
So I think that I made a mistake in this game, and I think what is in Arsenal now is I'm probably not gonna use that card during the rest of the game, and we'll talk about it a little bit more at the end of the game. I'm curious if I already made the mistake or if I'm gonna make it after 1 or 2 turns.
So basically, what you're saying is you make a lot of mistakes, Don. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I played a card. I put a card in my arsenal which I never should have put in my arsenal at that point of time.
So he's defending with a pummel, so just taking a couple of damage there.
Taking 4.
I can't see how many he's defending for himself. I'm guessing.
Taking 2.
Yeah. Okay. So he's defended. Maybe he defended with some armor or something.
Oh,
there?
probably that. Okay.
What I was going to say, like you were saying, with the whole Arsenal situation, I've suffered from that so many times where I've put a card in my Arsenal and just can't get it out. It's stayed there for turn after turn after turn. And that's, I think, one of the more kind of key parts of especially higher end players, knowing what to Arsenal, but also when to Arsenal, right? I mean, even if you have a card in hand, you should, in certain situations, choose not to Arsenal it because they may just get stuck there.
Yeah, absolutely. Although it feels wrong, it's still the right call, right? You always want to use the arsenal to draw that extra card. So I think this is probably towards the end of the game.
So you were originally just going to defend, but then thought you'd stick your Creative Fist in there or something with Creative Fist.
Yeah, I have the Crippling Crush in hand with the token. One card. I'm gonna finish it.
So you could afford to take the 6 there and go down to 3, knowing he had no other way to do damage.
Absolutely.
And now with Dominate, I'm assuming you're gonna dominate into something and just close the game out.
Yeah, he's drawn. I let him draw back up to 4, and then here comes the Crippling Crush with Dominates.
Such a beautiful card as well, with those white borders. Like, man, that's how you finish the game. Little fist bump there at the end. And Don wins and Nam loses. So you said you wanted to talk about something at the end of the game.
Yeah, so we talked about the game, showing Righteous Cleansing, a very, very expensive card that I put in my arsenal. I could have played it this turn, right? But I don't think I should have put that card in arsenal because I'm not sure. Now I went back to 3 life. So I had a little bit of breathing room to take some damage, leaving me with a full hand. But I'm not sure at that point if maybe I should have only put defense reaction arsenal or maybe less expensive cards. I still haven't figured out what if this was a mistake. Or if
for the collectors watching, when we're talking about expensive cards, we mean in cost, not in terms of price, right? Just to clarify.
Absolutely. So let us know what you would have done if you think it was the right play, if you saw some things that we didn't do, how you would have done it. Really looking for feedback.
Yep. And just before we close this out, I'm interested to know, this was a few months ago. You've played probably a lot more games of Guardian since then, because I know Guardian is your favourite class. How has your deck changed from what we see here in the video?
The core remains the same, I think, and for Guardian that is just you play an X amount of blue cards, right? That cost 3, that pitch for 3, so you can hammer time. Obviously, I only used Anathos once or twice during the game, but I focused more on the hammer instead of using the big attacks. I just showed him what I put out of my deck. Also, that's something I really haven't figured out yet. What do I pre-sideboard? So what cards am I taking out? I think that is the most difficult thing in Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, I think there are some matchups where you kind of have an indication of, I don't know, Wizards, the easiest one to explain, right?
Yeah.
I can side in Arcane Barrier against other classes, I don't need it per se, but as you say, against some of those other matchups, it's difficult to know exactly what's good and what's bad because how they've structured their deck could be completely different from what I'm expecting.
Absolutely, yeah. So talking a little bit more about the game, that's also always something I really enjoy. Like, even if you won or if you lost, doesn't really matter. I just want to know, like, go through it in my head, like what did I do wrong, or what should I have done differently?
Yeah.
And to just have a nice chat after the game and how Nam experienced it.
Yeah, I think it's like that's the way that you learn a lot more, right? Is to really focus in on what did I do wrong in any sport. Like watching film of how you perform is how you kind of learn to do those things better. So doing this kind of thing, especially where you're watching your own game, right?
Yeah,
it's quite insightful to see like why did I do this or that, and should I have done things differently? How potentially could I change the way I do things in the future? And speaking of the future, I guess like at this point. We'll close out this video. We hope you guys have enjoyed watching. We will be doing one of these videos every 2 weeks. Hopefully tweaking these videos, making them better every time. We really do hope you enjoyed it. So like Don said earlier, please leave us some feedback in the video. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, maybe like and subscribe. That's always something I've wanted to say, but never had the opportunity to. So thanks.
Does this mean we've made it in life now, right? Because we can say like and subscribe.
It sure feels like that. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, guys. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.